Let's go. JJ, I'm so excited that you are here, and people are going to continue to keep going on and watch this recording for a really, really long time. But you've been somebody that I've been able to admire for a long time. I know we got my team on here, and there's people who are like, oh my gosh, I got to sit by him at a UIA. I got to sit by him at a ISA University. Just the nicest guy ever. And I was like, yeah, he is. Salt of the earth, hard worker. But one of the things before we get into this is I have to ask you, like, I've never been fast. What's it like to just be really fast? What does that feel like?
It's cool.
Is it cool?
There's something about when you can run faster than other humans and they can't do anything about it. You know, you kind of get that little cockiness to yourself when you get that step on, you're like, see ya.
See ya. Bye-bye. I love it. Well, I can live my dream through video games or something. I don't know, but I'm excited that you're here. And for those of you that don't know him, JJ had an incredible career in the NFL for 9 years, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But you know, just the adversity that he has been through, being you know, a smaller guy in a big man sport, so to speak, and to be able to, you know, overcome that. But how that carried into life, in business, in family, in now what he's doing, and I'm excited to be able to dive into that. So if you would just want to give us a little background of, you know, where'd you start at? You grew up in Oregon, correct? And from my understanding, #1 wide receiver in high school in all of Oregon. And then they were like, nah, I don't know. He's not good enough to play. You know, what happened?
Yeah, well, before I get into that, Hayden, let me just let you know, dude, I'm a big fan of yours too. I really am. And when I first met you years ago, I really resonated with you. Obviously, you played some football too, but you're a grinder, you're a worker, and I always admire people that are out there doing the do. So keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
So a little bit about my story, like you mentioned. So I'm from Portland, Oregon, born and raised. I now live in Scottsdale, Arizona, but I was a track and football player in high school, and always the little guy. And my senior year, I was the #1 wide receiver in all the state of Oregon, but I was 5'9", 133 pounds. So no matter how many touchdowns I scored, when Division I schools looked at me, they were like, you need to go to small college. You need to go to junior college. So I had this chip on my shoulder because I knew everyone saw me as the underdog, but I didn't see myself as the underdog. I had that belief, and I just figured, well, I got to create a plan to prove everyone wrong. And so really good track and field athlete. So I knew I could get a D1 scholarship. And as I was being recruited, every D1 college that was recruiting me in track, I would say, what do you think about me playing football? And every school was like, nope, 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 except for Oregon. The Ducks said, you come run for us. If you can convince the head coach, football coach, to let you walk on, you have our blessing. So all I saw was opportunity, and that's what happened. My second year, I was, you know, watching football practices and kind of measuring everybody up. And I said, I can do this, but I got to get on that field. And so the next day, Hayden, I went and stood on the practice field like this. I said, someone's going to kick me off the field, but they're going to know why I'm here. And finally, the head coach, Rich Brooks, comes down and he says, you're the track kid, Birden. What are you doing out here? And I said, Coach, I want to play. So after kind of going back and forth, and I met with him the next day, he said, you can walk on this fall. And all I saw, Hayden, was opportunity. And yes. I walked in day one of training camp. There was 15 wide receivers on the depth chart.
So wait, but some people don't understand, like, especially when you're at a Division I school, being a walk-on, that's like, hey, you get the leftover pads. Here's the gloves that this receiver wore 4 years ago. Like, you are not treated very well. You are in the back of the line. If you get a rep, it is a blessing. So I just want you guys to know, like, this is, and he's looking at it as opportunity. This is opportunity. And I love that about you. And I just needed to, like, paint that picture because a lot of people don't understand that, like, they hear walk on. Oh, they only hear the cool stories of, you know, people that eventually get that scholarship. And it's like, so many don't. And it's hard because it's such a hard grind, and they don't want you to succeed.
No.
I mean, that's typically the case, right?
Yeah, that's very well articulated, because you're right. You know, I had the big crazy pads. I had some number that was not a receiver's number. You're just like, take the scrubs. But all I saw was my foot's in the door. I'm number 14th on the depth chart, where most people would say, you know what, this is a waste of my time. Why am I here? They're not even gonna give me a shot. I said, how fast can I move up the depth chart? That was my whole mentality, because I knew I had the ability. They didn't know how bad I wanted, what I was willing to sacrifice. So 2 weeks later, I was second string backing up 2 seniors. So I guess you could kind of say the rest is history with the college. And I did track and football throughout the rest of my career at Oregon.
That's absolutely incredible. And I know you're passionate about your Oregon Ducks, and I'll just say that they have the most fun jerseys every single year in and year out. If nobody has been to or go on YouTube and type in Oregon Duck football, and you're going to be wowed. And I'm sure it wasn't quite like that when you were there, but I'm going to just say you laid the foundation for that to be able to make that happen. But as you're going through college, I know you also had some adversity, went through some injuries, things like that. And it came time, like senior year, you're done. You got an invite to the NFL Combine, and only 300 people, received that invite. Take us through like what was those next steps into your journey, since it is draft week right now, and we're going to watch a lot of guys, live their dreams, and just kind of walk us through that process and, what was going through your head at that time? What were people saying? What was going on?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I was really not focusing on football. I was just really trying to prove everybody wrong. And I made the team, and I was content with that. I didn't have a great college career. I mean, I had 19 catches my junior year. I had 20 catches my senior year. I had 1 touchdown. So those weren't your prototypical NFL stats. So I was like, there's no way in the world I'm playing the NFL. My focus is track. I had 1 Pac-10s. I qualified for national. I qualified for the Olympic trials and the long jump. So that's where I was focusing. And then I get invited to the NFL Combine, where they're inviting the top 40 wide receivers throughout the country. And I go to Indianapolis with all these receivers, and I see like, these great receivers like Tim Brown and Sterling Sharp. And I'm like, why am I here? It was the most intimidating job interview. But, I went through the process. So what happened was, when draft day came around, I just was like, I'm not getting drafted. I'm not getting drafted. The first day, I'm going to class. So I just ignored the draft. I went to class. The second day, because I had an agent at the time, he says, you're getting drafted. I go, no, I'm not. I'm going to class. He goes, no, you stay your butt there. You're getting drafted. So I waited a little longer, and then all of a sudden I get this call. Here's how it goes. I go, hello. And they go, yeah, hey, is JJ there? I go, yeah. So this is Marty Schottenheimer of the Cleveland Browns, head coach. And I go, who is this? This is head coach Marty Schottenheimer. We just drafted you in the 8th round. I go, are you serious? They go, yeah. So I was like totally shocked. I got drafted, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is crazy. So, but right away, I'm thinking about track, and Marty goes, well, hey, you need to fly out to Cleveland the next week. We have all the rookies come out, and you go through a camp. And so I'm thinking like, well, I'm really focusing on track, but maybe I should go to this rookie camp just to see what happens. So I go out there next week, go through this 3-day rookie camp, and I tear up my ACL ligament in the camp.
Ugh. Devastating.
So you can only imagine, what was going through my mind, because the hopes was track, that dream was shattered. But I'm a very positive person, and positive people see the bright side of everything. And I thought, well, one doorway has closed, another one opens up. Hello, NFL. And that was when I started focusing on an NFL career from that moment there.
Wow. So after you got injured, that's when you started focusing on an NFL career. And I think that's, and that's a huge reason why I love sports and bringing it into business. And I know we're going to get into that in a second, but it's like, there's adversity in every single person's life. And it's, and you can either look at it as a negative, I'm down, I'm never going to get out of this, or you can go, okay, what's my next step? For you, how do I make my NFL career? And then back then, it was really unheard of to come back from ACL injuries. It's not like now it's kind of like, oh yeah, he'll be back in a year.
Yeah.
But then it was typically career ending.
Yeah.
So what happened from that standpoint? Because, we'll fast forward and you've been 9-year NFL career. That's pretty not typical. Most are less than 2 years.
Yeah.
And the percentage of people even making it to where you got, like, what happened from this decision of going, okay, I'm making an NFL career, and then you did it.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. And everybody listening, you need to really, clue into what Hayden was saying, because I have this acronym, I call it FASCO: failures, adversities, setbacks, challenges, and obstacles. We all deal with them. And I think those are perfect moments for breakthroughs. And when I tore my ACL up, right there, I had a choice. Either this moment can take me down and out, or it can take me to bigger and better things. And I made a decision that was going to be the moment where my career would take off. So it started with a decision. And, I went through the battles, the ups and downs, but I kept working, I kept grinding, and I got my shot. And eventually, like you said, I went on to play 9 years in the NFL. And for everyone who's listening, let me just put this in perspective. There's 1 million high school football players that play football every year. They have a 0.008% chance they get a shot in the NFL. College is 1.6. The NFL is 100 years old. There's 20,000 men who played the game. The average career is less than 2 years, while the average size football player is 6'2", 245. I played 9 years at 5'10", 157 pounds. And Hayden, I've done my research. In the last 30 years, there has not been an NFL player that's played longer than me that weighed under 160 pounds. And I say that because it took a lot of focus, grit, resilience, work, but it all paid off in the end.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to imagine someone running around 160 pounds and doing it for that long. You played with some greats. You obviously had a great career. You made some money. We'll transition now to, luckily, you invested a little bit, right? Some brick and mortar businesses. So when your NFL career was done, because a lot of guys don't do this. We've heard the stories countless times over and over again. You get done and all of a sudden everything's gone, right? And that was a little bit different for you. Like, can you, what does it typically happen? What did you do? What's your story through going from the NFL to now, okay, I'm a business owner, and what kind of businesses were you running?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing, you play this, you're in this profession that seems all glamorous and everything, but when you stop playing, they stop paying you, Yeah. And the biggest misconception is that everyone thinks that, you play in the NFL, that when your career's over, you have this mega contract, you're financially set for life. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions out there. There's a few, small number who are financially set. The rest of us, we need a plan B, because you're basically burned out, pushed out, professional athlete, and you got to make a drastic career change. And so I was already kind of planning for life after football. And when I retired, I made some contacts with some doctors, and I got involved with 3 businesses. I owned 2 medical-based businesses in Kansas City, and I was a part owner of a fitness equipment company, because I thought that was the dream. Become an entrepreneur, own my own business, ride off into the sunset. I ran those companies for 10 years. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
I was overworked, stressed out, traveling a lot, underpaid. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And that's when I started opening up my mind to other possibilities. And I'll tell you this, network marketing was something that always intrigued me, because I understood the concept of passive income or residual income. Yeah. And here's why. So when you play in the NFL, you don't think about, hey, I'm going to be on video games one day. I'm going to be on football cards. I got I think I was on about 40 different football cards, and this is kind of cool. You're on Tecmo and John Madden game, but every off season, they would give us a check for being on these games. And when I retired, Hayden, I got a check the following year. And then I got a check the following year. And then the third year, I didn't get one because I wasn't on the games anymore. But it introduced me to this concept of residual income where you do something over a period of time and you continue to be paid for it. So network marketing always intrigued me because of that. I just hadn't found the right company, but I was definitely looking.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So when you were a business owner and looking at that time, still looking for network marketing because you're overworked, stressed out, underpaid, traveling all the time. I mean, away from your family, you have a beautiful wife of 30 years. Is it 30?
Yeah, 30
years. 8 kids.
8 kids.
Like, come on, let's go. Like, you do it. You got a lot going on. You have a lot of responsibility. Because I think some people go, network marketing is great, but can I really like make a living at doing this? We know it's awesome to make the ancillary income and stuff like that. But when you have all those responsibilities, it can be tough. And what was your like biggest transition, I guess, from going to a brick and mortar business owner to, okay, now I'm getting into network marketing? Like how did that transition happen?
I think it first started with the power of the why. We always talk about your why. Why do you do what you do? And as you mentioned, we had 3 biological children, and right around 2017, when I was trying to figure this out, I get a call from my nephew and nieces in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I fly out there, and 5 of them are going to be placed in 5 separate foster homes. And my wife and I had to make a decision, and we took them all. Just take them on. We merged them with our family. But all of a sudden, my why just went sky high. I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I got a family of 10. I need to figure this out. So the timing of network marketing was impeccable because I knew that this could be my business. And as long as I put as much energy and focus and discipline like I did as a professional athlete, I knew there was really an opportunity to impact lives. So that was really that driving force at the beginning.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you talk about discipline. I mean, I see you being consistent day in and day out on the workouts. Now we're on Peloton together, like doing that stuff. And like to get to the next level, it doesn't happen overnight. It's consistent. We always hear about overnight successes and, having success in business, having success being athletics, but nobody sees the early morning workouts. Nobody sees those, calls that you didn't want to do that you decided to do because your why is so high and you have a reason to do these things. And it's like, I love that we can take that those lessons from, in our circumstance, football, and incorporating it into business and using that leadership to help other people grow. And I know that, you're an author, you're a speaker, you go in and speak at large organizations, like to people outside of the network marketing profession. But I know you have something called the 5 C's. And when you were talking about this the other day, and I was like, that is brilliant. I was like, you got to share this on the call. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make you, but the 5 C's, like why, if somebody's watching here, you're an athlete or, other athletes or former athletes, like what would make them so great at this profession and what we have in network marketing?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. To just think through my years of being in this profession, you start learning, you start observing, you start seeing what the recipe for success is, or who could be the potential, business partners that could really impact a lot of lives. And I came up with the 5 C's because I feel athletes automatically have the 5 C's. And before I share this, and don't get me wrong, anyone can have the 5 C's, okay? But athletes have this naturally, and I think these are key to them being successful in our industry. The 5 C's basically represent contacts. Athletes naturally have a huge network. They know a lot of people. It just kind of comes with the package. And as you're on social media now, they have so much access to so many different people. And we know in our profession, when you know a lot of people, you have the opportunity to introduce them to your business. Next is credibility. Most athletes have solid credibility. People want to know them. They want to hang out with them. They want to do what they do. Coachable is the next one. You can't be an athlete on any level, let alone a professional level, without being coachable. You have to be coachable. And in our profession, you've got to be coachable. You have to understand no matter what you've done in the past, there is a learning curve and someone has to teach you. And athletes naturally have that ability to be coachable. Next, I would say it's commitment. Can't be an athlete without commitment. And you know, Hayden, we're training for 9 months, 10 months, waiting for the start of the season. We understand the grind and putting in the work where you may not even get on the field for months and months. And we know the commitment level in network marketing, there's a huge commitment that it really takes to not only learn how to do the business, but ultimately be successful. And the last one is, athletes have that little competitive advantage, that little something extra they bring to the table because of them being athletes. And so those 5 C's, I tell you, if you know an athlete who understands this model, you can really teach them. Those 5 C's can take them to a whole nother level when you talk about building a business. But let me just say this. One of my biggest pet peeves since I've been in this industry is that everyone thinks that just because you're a former athlete, that it's so easy for you. Yeah. Everyone just throws their credit card at you. They just stay on auto ship. No. I might be able to get in front of other people, but it still comes back to knowing the skills, the basics, the fundamentals. So you still have to teach them on how to do network marketing.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's where the coachability part comes in, because I know I've worked with some athletes that have been awesome and they're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it happen. I know some that have been like, I've been really good at what I've done, no matter what. And this is just something different. And some expect, a little bit more handout. They expect like, oh, someone's going to do this for me. And that's, really not the case. It goes back to having that competitive advantage and wanting to make it happen. And I love that you say that. Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you're just going to go and do it and figure it out. Like, there is still a learning curve, but the potential, I think, is so much higher. And if somebody's on here right now looking and thinking like, hey, is this something I want to do? One of the best things about this is you still get to be a part of a team. You don't have to be great at everything. Like, I don't have to be a quarterback and calling out the plays and doing all that. Like, I get to do my job. I get to block. I get to, catch passes. I get to do, some of that stuff. Like, everybody has their parts in this where we're stronger together as a team, which creates leverage. I don't need to know everything about the products because there's tools, there's coaches. I don't need to know everything about it, but if I want to be a part of a team and fill in and bring my leadership to the team, I see that's where I see so many people, really thriving and making this, so much more whole. But I think the other thing that we run into with, athletes or trainers, coaches, things like that, is they go, oh, I don't need that, Isagenix, I'm sponsored, or I have this deal. Can you just, because now I laugh about it, knowing what they're really getting, or knowing how they're getting used, or maybe they're just getting some free product and it's easy. But you talk a little bit about that, like with the what's the difference between like a sponsorship and what we have here at Network Marketing with the ability to get paid with Isagenix over and over and over and over again?
Yeah, that's such a great question. It's really important for people to understand this, because whether you're talking to athletes, personal trainers, coaches, or whoever, there's being sponsored and endorsed. And a lot of times people will give you the impression they're being sponsored. Okay. Let me just tell you this. If you're being sponsored by a company, they're getting a check. They're sending you a check. And most of them are not sponsored. They are endorsing a product, meaning that they're getting discounts or they're getting gear or something like that to promote a product. I know because I was endorsed by Nike. It's my freshman year at Oregon, and then they endorsed me all through my NFL career. I had like this $10,000, I think I had $15,000 allowance every year. I could just buy unlimited Nike gear. I was endorsed. I wasn't sponsored by them. But when my career ended, they just said, bye-bye, okay? But here's what's great. And when you're talking to people like this, you want to let them know this, because by being a part of Isagenix, they can sponsor themselves. Here's a profession where their earning potential can be 6 figures, and it doesn't disappear when they get injured or when they retire. It continues to go on and on and on. And that's something you really want to share with those people in the profession, because a lot of them don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's hard. I think sometimes when you're like, just, you're getting that deal, or you're getting that discount, or even if you are getting paid, it's like, what about in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Because we know we can do the work right now and continue to get paid, and then get paid and get paid and get paid and get paid and get paid. And I think using that, the credibility, like you said, as soon as you can, before it wears out. Because a lot of athletes, all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, especially with social media and how fast turnover is, people get left behind if they don't take that opportunity for credibility. And I think that's important when you're talking to, athletes, coaches, trainers, whoever it may be, that do have these sponsorships. Really look at it like, what's this gonna help you do for you and your family, 5, 10 years down the road? Because if you're open to it, we really believe that we have a better way. And then on top of that, our products are second to none. We have the certifications, Informed Sports Certified. Like, can you just speak on that, the importance of that? Because we could get stuff at a gas station. I can get stuff at GNC. I can get stuff at, funny story. We used to get these energy drinks at the gas station before practice, right? And it was like, we got in trouble because our trainer goes, you can't have that. You could test positive for illegal substances. And we're like, we're getting it at a gas station that any little kid could get. But he said, no, you can't do that because it's not regulated. The supplement industry isn't regulated the way that it should be. And that was kind of my first eye-opening moment. But can you speak to what is Informed Sports Certified? Like, what does that mean for athletes and for people that, want to do this the right way?
Yeah. And that's such a big deal. And when we talk about a competitive advantage we have as a company, the fact that some of our products are Informed Sports Certified, everybody, that is a big deal. And you really need to be leveraging that. So to give you from my perspective, so when I was in the NFL, every time we received any type of supplements, if somebody gave me something, we were trained to look at the label. Is it certified? Because there's a company called WADA, and WADA basically monitors all the supplements out there, and they have ingredients that have, that are on a banned substance list. Mm-hmm. So if my grandmother gave me some protein and then I looked on there and it's not certified, sorry, grandma, I am not going to drink it because I could flunk the test. If you flunk the test, you don't get paid. You can't take care of your family. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Isagenix has Informed Sports certified some of our products, that means pro athletes, Olympic athletes, college athletes can take our products and not worry about flunking a drug test. That is a huge advantage when you're sharing this with other people, even if they're non-athletes. Because if it's good enough for a professional athlete, it's certainly good enough for everyone else. And I just think a lot of people don't leverage that and use that when they should do so when sharing the Isagenix products.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge game changer because here's what other companies have to create separate lines for this stuff because their products aren't good enough. Isagenix just said, here, this is what we have, and it's all good. And that was one of the cool things. I was like, okay, we didn't have to create anything separate. We didn't have to have this super special line that, is way more expensive than anything else that we currently carry. And I thought that was just a huge competitive advantage that we have. And, at the end of the day, if Olympic athletes can take it, anybody can take it because nobody gets tested more than an Olympic athlete. I'm sure you've had to experience that too.
To be able to say that we have clean products, that resonates so much, not even just with athletes, but just people in general, to be able to say we have clean products. That is a big deal in the health and nutrition industry.
So speaking of products, what are your two favorite, like, I can't live without Isagenix products every day you're in? I know you just did a collagen post. Collagen's really hot right now, but what are your two?
That's a hard question to answer because, I mean, if I got to narrow it down to two, I'm definitely going to go at Isolane Pro. That has always been my number one shake. I like the 36 grams of protein. all the pros, Isoline pros. I don't know, man. That second one, it's going to be a battle between the Elixir, Bia, eShot, Isodelight. You know, I could just go on and on, you know. But that's what's so great, because we have so many great products we can implement in our daily lifestyle every single day. So it's hard to pick a favorite.
Well, I get it, because everyone's like, well, what do you take? I'm like, everything. I literally take everything. Like, I have a whole routine. It's like my whole morning, my lunch, everything is Isagenix. But then you also have your family who is using the products. And that's another, that's another thing too, is like, it's not just for you. It's not just for athletes. It's not just for, what women, it's for everybody. It's for the family. And how much easier has that made it for you guys, especially having that many people, living in the house, coming in and out? I'm sure it's always like just a constant rotating door. I know that's how it has always been at my house. It was almost weird if there was nobody there, like something's wrong. Yeah.
It's so nice that it truly is a real redirect spend, where you could replace snacks and other items you were buying and replace them with Isagenix nutrition. It's like, the big deal for us was the shakes, especially my girls, because my girls were skipping breakfast a lot. Sometimes girls do that. But then when we introduced them to the shake, they were having the strawberry shakes every single morning. So you knew they were getting good nutrition in the morning to start their day. And then the snacks, we can't keep the snacks in the house. I mean, the Isodelights and the bites are they disappear so fast, but it's just nice that it's not only you benefiting from the nutrition, but your family as well. And as you know, we all want to be products of the product, and we certainly are in this company.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's part of what makes it simple. We'll never say easy, but simple is that you always have a product experience that you can share with, whether it's yourself, somebody on the team, sharing your story, whatever it may be. And, I'm just so grateful that you took the time to be on here tonight, and share with all of us. I know a lot of people are going to watch this recording as well. And I would just say we talked a lot about the business, we talked some about the product, but for somebody like sitting there thinking, is this something I can do? And what kind of mindset shift do they need to make? And what do you recommend that they actually do?
Yeah. Well, first I would say, when this call is over, get back to whoever invited you to the call. Get back to them, get your questions answered, because they're going to answer the questions, and allow them to give you a recommendation of how to start with this nutrition, but also be open to them and let them know what you want. What are you missing in your life? What do you want to change? What is it that's driving you? Because they're going to show you how this could be the vehicle to help you do that. And then I would say this, and this is really for everyone, because the years I've been in this profession, people will ask me, what's the secret of success? I will say this: keep it simple, stick to the basics, and be consistent. All right. Keep it simple. Don't complicate it. It's a simple way we share and we grow this business. Stick to the basics. The basics of this industry are the basics. They never change. And then be consistent. You got to be consistent and recognize success is an endurance race. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you stay consistent and you do the basics over and over, something positive is definitely going to come out of it.
Amen. And dude, I love it. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. If you guys, just like JJ said, get back to the person that sent you here. They will get all of your questions answered. We'll get you set up with the right recommendations based off of what is right for you, where you're at right now, and commit to the process by staying consistent. We're going to make this happen. We're going to the top. Man, I appreciate you. And I look forward to chatting again soon. Hopefully we get a live event in here and can have a good time.
I know. Thanks, Hayden. I appreciate you too, man. Keep up the good work and keep changing lives.
All right, will do. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.